Hey, welcome back to Critical Reactions, your host, Brian. Today we are doing something a little special. I've been told on several occasions that I reacted to Baby Metal incorrectly. They are a visual band, and I need to watch the performance with the music. I am here typically reviewing music. That's why I created this channel. I want to react to new music, the musicality of song. That's what I want to find new stuff. And I want to look at how people are composing music with modern music these days. I'm saying music a lot. Uh, yeah, so metal and rock just kind of happen to be where that's at, where it's being most progressive and most interesting. It's not that I intentionally went out to make this a metal channel, but that's what happened. So I'm not really in a position to critique a performance, whether that's choreography and dancing or light shows, pyrotechnics. The that's not really where I have any expertise in. So kind of weird. People keep telling me to react to that. But I also believe every group or band or person, every musical act deserves to be met on their own terms. So, if Baby Metal is indeed a visual act where the visual part of the performance is just as important or more important than the music, which is kind of the idea I'm getting, then I should at least give them a single shot. That makes it sound bad. I should at least watch one performance. Is probably what I should have said. I should watch at least one of their performances to kind of get the whole picture of who they are, what they stand for, what their band is about. So that's where we are today. Everybody says Road of Resistance is what I should be listening to. Their live in Japan performance. But being that I am more about the music and the composition, I want to hear the studio version where they have more control over their sound. Playing live in an auditorium or in a what have you, a stage, it's going to mess with the way that the sound is heard, just by the sheer fact of their, uh, the walls and the enclosed space and how big or small the space is and how many speakers you have. And there's a lot of chaos introduced that you don't get in a studio. The studio, I believe, is a very distilled version. It's a very precise version of what their intended sound or the intended vision was for the song. And I'm not going to say it's superior to a live version. I think there are definitely some live versions that end up liking better. But yeah, I guess we're getting a little off topic here. Anyway, so what I'm going to do is we are going to listen to the studio version of Road of Resistance. I'm going to give my thoughts about it, do a typical reaction to it, and then after that, I'll watch the live in Japan performance of it. Having already spoken about the music, I don't know if I'll have much of an analysis on that, but everybody says I should watch it, and this will be my proof. Hey, I gave Baby Metal, a full reaction to their entire set, not just half of their performance. So let's get into this. We have Road of Resistance studio version going on. Very epic. Huge difference from Tales of Destinies. This almost has a power metal thing going on. Interesting choice for the drums and the bass guitar, though. That really staccato quick hits isn't something you would put under something powerful like this in typical power metal. Still kind of getting an epic feel, even though Now I remember somebody said that these guys were linked to Dragon Force somehow. I can hear all the influence right here. And of course, Dragon Force is power metal mixed with like speed, I guess. Yeah, this is wildly different than to other Destinies. And you know, a lot of people have told me that every song is kind of an homage to a different genre. So that's real cool. This, I kind of hate to use the word fun, but this is a very fun song. It definitely has power metal roots, but you can feel the pop influence to where it's not, it doesn't feel like it's so serious. I'm sure the lyrics are serious. I'm sure maybe it was intended to be a serious song. But to me, it just gives a real fun vibe, especially coming from their more progressive track. Alright, we had that little halftime outro, leads into the guitar solo, basically just gave everybody like a 1-bar rest, kind of gave the listener a section to breathe. Holy cow! But yeah, the song's pretty much been non-stop, so that little 1-bar break, kind of slowing it down, even gave the listener a chance to kind of take a breath and say, okay, you know, I gotta prepare for what's coming up. And then they hit you hard with that guitar solo and that drummer just laying down the blasts. Loving the guitar work though. But even these solos are very Dragon Force influenced. I wonder if they had anyone from Dragon Force working on the composition for this. Completely different feel here though. There was like 8 bars there that were in a totally different feel, and then it returned back to this epic power metal stuff. Yeah, I mean, the vocals, I understand that she's young when she did this song, so it's kind of impressive that she can hit these notes, especially going on tour and hitting these all the time. Alright, that's a pretty... That's pretty much an expected ending for the genre that they chose to work with, but being an homage, you know, kind of part of that is just falling into the tropes of the genre, so, yeah, got the big ending. What I was saying though is the singer, given her age, late teens maybe I think is what I remember seeing in the comments. Uh, Impressive for her to hit these notes and then to go on tour and hit them night after night. But compared to the bands, I'd almost say that she's overshadowed for me, anyways. The drummer was relentless. The guitar is just the whole band was playing quick stuff. The for 5 minutes straight. The kind of endurance required, not even, I mean, the endurance is definitely the part, but also the skill required to play that quickly, especially the guitar solos. Uh, I mean, I guess the big redeeming factor for them is that they're not Dragon Force and they don't have every song like this. So this is kind of a one-off thing where they just got to go into it heavy. Fortunately, they might have a slower song uh, that they can play after this to kind of cool down, let their muscles relax for a little bit. I don't know if they have a slower song, but I would assume so if they play songs from all sorts of genres. So I guess that's like a silver lining, but still, I mean, they have the chops to play this. And to play it well, I'm going to assume. And but then, they have to play that straight for 5 minutes. It's not just about being able to do it for a solo or being able to do it for the chorus. You're just playing these real quick picks for 5 minutes straight. The drummer's just laying down these ridiculously fast bass kicks for 5 minutes straight. It's just a relentless pressure to put on a body. And, like I said, I don't want to discredit the singer. She did phenomenal. But as far as stress and showcase of skill and endurance, that song goes to the instrumentalists. 100%. So, yeah, that was Road of Resistance. I mean, it's not something I would turn off. I might even put it on a couple of times if I'm in the mood. Power metal's not really my thing. Speed metal's not really my thing. Um, I like to watch it and be impressed. I like to check out Dragon Age. Nope, that is a video game. Dragon Force. And see what they're doing. Kind of listen to a couple new singles, watch a couple of live performances to watch them play. But it's not something I put on in the car. It's impressive, but not something I can listen to for long periods at a time. 5-6 minutes is kind of the extent because it is just this assault on your senses, on your hearing senses. It is just a barrage of notes and sound. Impressive when you think about the technicalities of it, but also it is just, like I said, a barrage. It is a wall of sound, constant sound being hammered into you. Uh, but yeah, I appreciate every bit of musicianship and talent that went into this. And if they didn't have anybody from Dragon Force working with them on this song, whatever person or team composed it, they did some studying because it is like 99% Dragon Force. And well, even Tales of Destinies was very, very close. There were a couple sections that if they had a different lead singer, I probably could not have told the difference between it and something like Dream Theater. So their ability to pay homage through mimicry is top notch. There is some real talent here into really zeroing in on a sound, not just the chains that the electronic instruments are going through, like the guitars, running them through specific types of distortion and pedals and amps to get a specific tone dialed in, but also just the mannerisms of the way that these musicians compose their music for themselves. So, I mean, just all around, the entire team behind Baby Metal definitely showcased what they could do in this. So let's move on to the live version. And yeah, let's do this. Why not? My headphones turned off. All right. Now already, I'm going to assume, just based off the guitar tone, I could be totally wrong here. I'm going to assume that this is a live performance with studio tracks. But that's just the sound I'm getting from the drums and the guitar. They're very clean. They sound studio. They sound like they were recorded in a controlled environment. You know, I've always been amazed at the kind of power that front people, front men, front women have over an audience, where they can just tell thousands, hundreds of thousands of people to do something and they do it. It's just fantastic. The vocals are live. I'm still not 100% sure about the instruments, but those vocals definitely have a different timbre to them than the studio version. They're very close to that fire though. They have got to be sweating, because that fire's been going off non-stop. One thing I have to admire though is the dedication to theme. And I know that it's technically a manufactured group, something along the lines of an idol group. So visual coherency is a strong part of that. But the outfits that the girls wear, the outfits that the band wears, this whole idea of having the separation between them distinct, but also giving them all like the two identities. You have the girls, and then you have, I believe they said, the commie band, is what I'm reading in the comments. I mean, it kind of creates this lore within the bands, and that is this. People love lore. You know, people love to follow things. So, I mean, that's a genius thing to do, and we've seen bands do it before. You have stuff like, probably one of the most prolific ones is My Chemical Romance's Black Parade. People love that stuff. So, I mean, as from a marketing decision, that is genius. And we don't see a lot of metal bands kind of doing that outside of some of the more extreme stuff like War, Kiss. Even though Kiss isn't really extreme by today's standards, but yeah. So it's always cool to see attention paid to the aspects that most metal bands don't pay any attention to, and part of that just comes because they have a team behind them. Now, see, I thought this part was a little long in the tooth as far as the studio version went, and this one's even longer. And I'm sure if you were there, this was a fantastic experience to be part of this group. And we're still doing it. All right. I think this guitar part's different than the studio. Very much in the same vein and style, but I don't remember those specific riffs. You know what that part reminds me of though? Metalcore. That guitar riff was a lot more metalcore than the rest of the power metal stuff, and it feels so out of place, but at the same time, it fits somehow, and I don't know why. And this is a typical big rock ending here. Drums going crazy, guitar going crazy, just kind of doing a little improv, making lots of noise. I uh, I see why people wanted me to watch this. It's a different experience than listening to the CD, an album, or just like the song itself. But I can't say it made me appreciate the music anymore. It made me appreciate the performers. I can visualize what the guitars and drums are doing from the music. They're playing fast. I've tried to play that fast before. I mean, so I kind of have an understanding of the kind of muscle it takes, and like I said, endurance and stuff like that. So I can appreciate that from the music, but I can't appreciate the girls' performance from their singing because what they do doesn't translate into that. They're dancing. And seeing what they do at a concert while they're singing gives me more appreciation for their ability to put it on as a performer because singing takes a lot of breath. It's a very aerobic exercise, especially when you want to hit higher notes. You're going to use a lot of air pressure. You're going to be pushing a lot from the gut, from your diaphragm to get those notes out. Um, and when you're running around and moving around, that kind of physical exertion is also an aerobic exertion. So you're going to be out of breath while trying to use large amounts of breath to sing. And sometimes you can see that they're singing and dancing at the same time and doing these wide movements with their bodies. They were doing these almost full body rotations from the torso up. They're just kind of rotating their bodies in a circle. And that's a lot of core strength right there. And the speed they're doing it at requires a lot of oxygen to be moving through the body, which requires a lot of breathing, which is where you get your shortness of breath from. And the fact that they can just do all this and make it look effortless is amazing. So, and then of course, whoever runs their stage show stuff, the pyrotechnics, the fireworks, the lighting, the screen or projector or whatever's being run behind them. It is it's a huge thing going on, huge act, and there's obviously a lot of very talented people working with Baby Metal or maybe working as part of Baby Metal to get the whole thing going. So I am glad that I watched one of their live performances, but like I said, it didn't make me appreciate the music anymore than I already did. That's not a bad thing. I don't think live performances are supposed to make you appreciate the music outside of maybe some select genres. Blues is definitely a live genre of music. I don't think blues translates well into CDs because blues to me is a very temporal thing. It's about being in there at that moment and seeing somebody play the song that they feel like at that point in time. There's definitely a place for recorded jazz, blues, swing, stuff like that. But to me, jazz is a live genre. It's best experienced live. But seeing as the music here didn't really change between the two, I would take the studio version over the live version from a musician standpoint. But that's just me. I understand that they're more of a performance for some people, that they're more of an act than say a band. And I appreciate that. That's someone's opinion, and I'm not going to tell them they're wrong. There's multiple ways to go about enjoying art, and their way's just different than mine, and that's cool. My way's different than yours. But yeah, so that's Baby Metal, Road of Resistance, a good track. I think I like Tail Destinies better just for its compositional complexity, but I do enjoy this one for its musicianship and endurance. It is not an easy track to play. It is not an easy track for the singers to go out there and perform while dancing and moving around and running around and waving flags and holy jeez. So, yeah, I will probably do some more Baby Metal in the future. From what I understand, every song's different, so that is something I look forward to. But I've already done two tracks now, and I try not to do too much repetition. I think Ginger's the only one I've done three on, and I just absolutely love that band. So, not an excuse, but that's kind of why I've done three of them. But I'm trying to get through some of my first timers. I have like another 30 or 40 requests for a band that I've never heard of before. I want to get through those before, more so than I want to, revisit bands. So I will be revisiting Baby Metal in the future, just not anytime soon. Next week, I'm going to try to hit five brand new bands. And then after that's, I think school's out for Christmas break. So I'll probably take 2 weeks off to be with family. So you got one more week of me if you want that. If not, yeah, don't come to my channel because I'll be here anyways. And yeah, so I will be back Monday at 11 a.m. as usual with another reaction to a new band I've never heard of before. And that's always exciting. So I don't know what band it is, but we'll find out on Monday. Until then, y'all have an excellent weekend, and you'll see me next time.